Well, hey guys, welcome back. As you can see, today we're taking a look at the scaletrains.com C39-8 Phase 3 locomotives. This includes both sound and DC versions, and as well, these are all in rivet counter. Now, let's talk pricing real quick. $249.99 for ESU LOKSound, DCC, and sound equipped units, and $164.99 for the DC units. And then you can buy a separate 21-pin decoder that you plug into the DC units to make them DCC friendly. So with that said, let's get started and see what's in the box on these three locomotives next. Alright, this is released from the chains that bound it with these seals. Operator's manual, as long as the box is. It folds out to triple the length of the box. Take a nice panoramic shot of this thing. Here's the functions listed, up to 20 listed on the manual. Lots of CVs listed as well. You can feel free to pause and blow up to 1080p anytime you want to take a look at this stuff, but just giving you little snapshots to view. You see that decoder right there? That is a 21-pin. Well, that might just be the board, but there's a 21-pin decoder you can use to actually turn this on. This is talking about the dip switch, which, if you want to read more about it, I would suggest you pause right there. Back, nothing special going on back there, just the logo. That's it for documentation. I like it simple anyway. You got the typical cradled foam and plastic. A little baggy going on right here. What is this? Oh, they throw in extra bearing caps for the wheels because they do sometimes pop off. They have rotating caps on the wheels. It's a really cool feature of the Scaletrains line. I think they've done it in almost all their rivet counter locomotives. Alright, one more pro tip before we get started. When you unbox these, like I set the locomotive down and it started stumbling and ended up on its side. I thought maybe it had too much to drink, but the real culprit was these. This is a bracing that is used to immobilize the truck in shipment. So nothing against Scaletrains. It's actually smart to make sure you have it packed tightly, but when you have black trucks, you gotta pay attention to these things because those bracings are black and they just blend right in, and then next thing you know, you've got a locomotive on its side. Luckily, I don't see anything it did to the locomotive, but we'll go ahead and cover detail now. On the nose, you've got all sorts of separately applied grab irons. You've got a coupler cut lever, MU hose, accessory hoses with silver tipped ends, and the snow plow, which is outlined in this kind of faint yellow, I think. A little hard to see from this angle. I'll zoom in for you. I am colorblind, so if I'm wrong on the color, that's just because I can't see it properly. You do have ditch lights mounted below the anti-climber, sand filler hatch on the nose, actually a couple of them, LED lights on both the ditch light and headlight, Scaletrains metal coupler of their own branding there, windshield wipers on the windshields, ice skate antenna on the top there, along with a smaller antenna. Should be lit number boards. We'll double check there. Safety tread on the walkways. Pretty durable looking handrails. I'm going to zoom back out for a second. We're going to talk about a little bit of prototype 8212 and 8211, which I'll show in a minute. Run on the Pennsylvania Northeastern Railroad, still in service. But these are originally bought by Conrail and Norfolk Southern, I believe. And the reason I picked this unit to really show you guys in review is because it has some cool patching, and you can even see the faded Conrail on the main cab area. I will show that to you up close a little later. You got the blister back here with all the fan grills. Fuel tank with emergency shut-off, and all of that truck detail going on down there. A little hard to see from this angle, so we will go back in once again so you can see that. So now that we are zoomed in, I'm going to take you down to the midsection, and you can see that Conrail just barely there. If you can't see it, I'll point it out to you. You got the circular areas of the Conrail logo there. It's very cool that they're able to capture that, and that is how the real prototype locomotives look. You've got a horn, exhaust, and radiator fan section back here. Little bump in the handrail, but nothing too out of place. Pretty straight across the board. So I swing the radiator section around. Take a look at the rear of this locomotive. And let me just tell you, this locomotive does have some cool features back here. I think these are called coupler holders or coupler stands. Then you've got all the accessory hoses, MU hose again. Even the detail where the plug-in for the MU hose on both ends is visible. Another MU plug right there. Safety chain going across. The handrails there, coupler cut lever again on the rear. Sand filler hatch on the rear. And you've got these little features as well, separately applied grabs all back here. As we go on the other side, lots of detail present. Got another faded Conrail look on this side. And cab windows as well. We'll see if they move. I think they may just be in place there. You have a completely detailed cab interior. A little hard to catch on camera there. Brake wheel up on the front. Alright, I'm going to replace this unit with the Norfolk Southern version here. Mostly not only to show you the quick scheme. There's a quick Vanna White for you. Put in your own elevator music for that. But wanted to also tell you that I did find the windows are adjustable off camera, but with this Norfolk Southern unit you can see some details that are a little harder to see on the blue unit, including see-through detail right there on the roof, see-through detail in the radiator fan grill section. As you can see, light coming through there right about now. And then the fan housings are visible, so very nice, and the model seems to be very, very heavy. Alright, now the DC version, obviously we will explain to you here in a minute how this LOKPilot decoder plugs into this, but I wanted to show you the scheme, which is 8211. It actually often works with 8212, the Conrail patch unit I showed earlier in the Pennsylvania Northeastern Railroad area. But prior NS unit, you can see all the patchwork all the way around, gray patching. And just for those folks that really love weathering, it's all about weathering these units to make them realistic, and this is the foundation for that. In the back you got the spare knuckles, just like on the other ones, but they stick out a little more, they pop a little more on this black scheme. And just amazing unit. Now, looks like Scaltrains has really got good QC quality control going on, because the handrails are very straight. Alright, tight squeeze, but finally kind of wiggled this off. Be careful, because all these wires are attached to lights. Alright, so what you should do, this is the internals by the way, one end to the other. This thing is a brick, mostly weight, with a decoder cram there on top. Should be able to remove this. Pops off no problem. You're going to want to line these up. Make sure you're not bending any of the pins, obviously. And perhaps run a test before you put the shell back on. But that pretty much completes the 21 pin upgrade. Alright, DCC decoder is in. Check it out under address 3. Everything's working. Forward and reverse. Alright, this sound decoder is so important to me that I actually turned off my air conditioning unit in my house, which means when I go upstairs, it's going to be an oven. But I want you guys to hear this without any background noise. 5.1 surround sound really picks up any noise in the room, so I'm making it dead quiet so that you can hear the startup and all of the sounds, or some of the sounds, of this ESU LOKSound decoder. So we'll start with startup, which is F8. Alright, you hear the motor get going. We'll listen to the bell now. F1. Very crisp sounds coming out of the ESU decoders. They always really set the bar high on the sound decoders. 2 is the playable horn. So I did all that pressing F2 for different sound or time limits. F3 is coupler. F4 is dynamic brake when you're moving. Looks like it might just be drive hold in this case. Much like F9. F5 handles the classification lights, which I don't think this has really on class lights. 6 is ditch lights. 7 is any other effect lights, which I don't believe there are any effects to cover. We talked about F8 already. F9 is drive hold. It allows you to rev the locomotive up, simulating you taking slack out of the train or throttling it up, doing tests or whatever you want, really. As soon as you let go of 9, whatever speed step you're at is what it resumes to. But I think the color temperature on the number boards is dead on. Headlights and ditch lights dead on. They don't have the LED appearance. They are golden white, so it's very nicely done. Let's blow the horn so we can see the oscillation of the ditch lights. Now the camera may distort it a little bit, but it does fade in and out. And it looks like they took a lot of effort because it looks spot on. Another reason I switched from NS back to the Conrail is you can see the absence of ditch lights on the NS version. That's part of that road name, road number specific detail that Scale Trains embarks on. Looks really good. And we have a full function decoder, which means in reverse, the ditch lights not only illuminate, but they also do the oscillation as well when the horn is sounding. I'm going to move both of these, one being the DCC Decoder equipped locomotive that I just upgraded, and the other being the DCC and Sound factory version. Both at 1 speed step here. You can hear motor noise without any sound. It's a very, very, very light hum. That's all you're hearing. Very smooth out of the box on both of these. It's one speed step. Kind of doing some firsts for reviews today, including speed step on DC and DCC. Showed you the inside of the locomotive. Just some differences. So that's up to 5. We'll actually call out the speed steps in reverse here. There's one speed step. There's 2. 3. 4. And 5. So pretty equally matched. You don't see the units changing positions in relativity to themselves, but overall very smooth and slow speed steps out of the box. All right, here's the scale. We're going to check weight of the DCC unit quickly here. You got 1 pound, 4.4 ounces. That's 20.4 ounces, 580 grams, and 0.580 kilograms. That's over 1 1/4 pound. All right, we're going to do a pull test on this here. Keeps going up, up, and up. Looks like we're maxing out at about 4.2. I did see other videos where they were getting in the 6s. The other 2 locomotives were engaged on the wheel sets. We'll check one on camera for you just to see if the NMRA gauge is correct on all 3. Again, that's why I like having a sampling. Yep, all 3, all in NMRA standards. Check the NMRA gauge for height. Spot on the rear. Teeny bit low on the front. Well, that's going to do it for our review on the scale train C39-8 Phase 3. All of these puppies are that. So there are a few in stock of different variations. The Conrails flew, the Pennsylvania Northeasterns flew off the shelves. Kind of proves my point about pre-ordering. I think it's a good idea to pre-order, but overall you may find some in stock or at hobby shops, and who knows if they'll do another run. They are making them in N-scale. They're not making them an operator, or haven't so far anyway. So I know some people had said that, and that's incorrect. So that's about it on these models. I'm going to leave you with a run-by of all 3 on my layout, and we'll see you next time right here on my channel. Take care.